Welcome to Tekzilla Bites, feed your tech hunger fast. I'm Patrick Norton, and I am way over wireless Bluetooth speakers, mostly because they mostly suck. Anybody with a logo and a check can get a container of Bluetooth speakers shipped over here for sale, and they mostly sound meh or just outright awful, which is why I wasn't too excited about reviewing Creative's $149.99 Sound Blaster Roar. My interest picked up a bit when I pulled it out of the box. The build quality is solid. The thing weighs 2.5 pounds, 8 inches by 4.5 inches by a little over 2 inches. It's a brick the size of a big paperback book. It's got heft. It's also crammed with enough features to fill an infomercial. Not just Bluetooth, but aptX, AAC, NFC to touch and link Bluetooth to your phone, and it works as an outboard DAC for your Mac or PC via USB cable. Wait, don't call yet. There's also a built-in alarm, micro SD card slot for the built-in MP3 WMA wave player, voice recorder. It's a speakerphone. The 6,000 milliamp hour battery can charge your phone. And did I mention it has an alarm, as in a siren? Let me be clear. The alarm siren thing is kind of silly. You got to hold the button down for 3 seconds, and if you don't put it in the right mode, you try to fire the alarm off, and you go into terabase mode instead. The features list is a little over the top. The audio, though, I was surprised. It sounds really good for a Bluetooth speaker. Terabase, by the way, is essentially a new name for the loudness button on your old stereo. It turns up bass when you're listening at low volumes. You just need to turn the alarm switch to off and hold down the button to go into terabase mode. And while we're hitting marketing terms, Mega Stereo is pairing 2 Sound Blaster Roar speakers, one for right, one for left, using the proprietary Mega Stereo cable, while Roar, which is this big button right here next to the volume controls, fires up the DSP and, quote, boosts the loudness, depth, and spaciousness of the audio, especially the highs and the mids. They call it kind of a party mode. I generally don't like process audio, but the Roar mode worked extremely well when we put the speaker on top of the cubicle divider and let it play. Matter of fact, we left Roar mode on for most of the time because it really helped fill out streaming audio from Pandora and Spotify. I am obsessed right now with Spotify's Bluegrass feed. We used it in a number of modes, streaming Bluetooth or aptX, plugged into laptops and desktops via USB cable. Getting it into the DAC mode is a little weird. First you plug in your USB cable, then you hold down the play button until it goes into the DAC mode. But you know what? It sounds so much better than the speakers in my MacBook Air, especially playing Bob Marley, which I can't say for all wireless Bluetooth speakers I've tried. Look, nobody's going to mistake this for $1,000 worth of speaker, subwoofer, amp, and DAC, but the audio was very pleasing if a tad processed, which is pretty normal for wireless speakers. You can turn off the equalizer and any processing in the Sound Blaster control panel when the speaker is plugged into your Mac or PC. If you're intimate with your collection of carefully ripped FLAC files, you'll probably want the EQ off, but like I mentioned earlier, we left it on for the most part because we did a ton of listening to streaming audio off of Spotify and Pandora, which isn't going to help our audiophile cred, but hey, when we're not getting our audio geek on, we tend to like some extra oomph on the high end for the cymbals and a little oomph on the low end for the bass. So did a lot of folks in our office. More than one person walking by commented on the low end coming from this book-sized speaker, and depending on who's describing it, the Roar has either 5 speakers or a pair of 1.5-inch high-frequency drivers on the front, along with a 2.5-inch mid-bass on the top with a pair of passive radiators on the left and right side. As far as I'm concerned, it's more 3 speakers than 5, but you can do the math however you like. The mid radiators don't go much below 47 Hertz, but that 2.5-inch bass speaker has its own amp. Hey, this thing is bi-amped. And again, the combo had enough kick to make it stand out compared to the other wireless Bluetooth speakers that are playing in the office pretty regularly. Hey, speaking of listening, I love listening to audiobooks, and our sponsor, audible.com/Tekzilla, will give you a free audiobook just for giving the service a free 30-day trial. Heck, if you got an Amazon account, you can use it to sign into audible.com/Tekzilla and say download Neil Stephenson's Reamd or the ever so awesome World War Z, which is so much better than the movie. Hey, getting back to the Roar, where you place it makes a pretty big difference in the sound. The 2 high-end speakers face you, the mid-bass point straights up, and the radiators are left and right. When it was plugged into my laptop, I like the Roar audio a lot better at ear level than, say, sitting on the desktop well below my ears. And it fills a room much better if you park it closer to one of the walls than, say, in the center of the room, especially if you want some good low end. The speakerphone mode worked well. Depending on your voice, you might need to really talk at the Creative logo on the front of the box. If you're in a bigger room, that's where the mic is, but nobody complained at the audio quality when we talked over the phone. The Sound Blaster Roar's battery life is estimated at 8 hours, and we'd say that's pretty accurate. The 6,000 milliamp hour onboard battery can charge your phone via this USB port here, not this USB port, but it's not the biggest trickle. It'll do 1 amp max. Now, given that my kids kept turning on the Roar and hitting the plus button to turn the audio up all the way, the built-in auto shut-off, 10 minutes without music and it powers down, was a welcome feature. Creative Sound Blaster's Roar is not going to replace a full tower set of speakers for raging along with Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture, but for casual listening, Friday afternoon at the office, at a picnic with the kids, or toting around the house doing projects, or in your suitcase when you travel, I'm giving it a big thumbs up. Looking for something more audiophile? Check out our review of AudioQuest Dragonfly DAC or Grados SR60E headphones. I'm Patrick Norton. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Tekzilla Bytes. Please subscribe and have yourself an excellent day.